capacity and reducing vulnerability in Nigeria project, a project that is aimed to build the capacity of small and medium-sized LGBTQ grassroots organizations for them to be resilient, to be able to carry out tailored advocacy to identify stakeholders who can cause a change, either policy or structural wise, in areas that affect their health, areas that affect their human rights, because it is a known fact that members of this community are victims of violations, stigmatizations, and discrimination, not because of what they do, but because of perceived orientation and gender identity. Today is indeed a remarkable day because today we're able to hold the first reflection and lesson sharing meeting with the 3 organizations and identified participants from the organizations that were mapped from the grassroots, where we all came together to ask ourselves, what have we done? What can we do better? What can we do going forward? So the reflection meeting creates an avenue for both participants and stakeholders to come together and brainstorm on the gaps, the lapses, and how we can better going forward in the second year of implementation of the project. So today's deliberation was indeed robust, was rich, and it was fruitful in the sense that stakeholders could hear unfettered from the mouth of the participant the problems they faced by members of the key population in their various states, unknown by the stakeholders. On the other hand, the stakeholders were able to provide way forward, entering points and access to places that have been difficult for these communities and the organizations to penetrate. So they were given strategies on how they can reach further stakeholders so that they can cascade or scale up the benefits or gains of the advancing capacity and reducing vulnerability in Nigeria project.
Very glad to participate in today's discussion and meeting. It was quite elaborate and eye-opener, especially looking at the great work that Mayor Alat has been doing, even as regards to this current ongoing project, with especially our own CBO that's situated in Nasarawa State, Olive Right. So I just want to encourage them to continue in the same great work. And for us, issue of the discrimination and stigma that vulnerable people and key population, pass through every day can never be overemphasized. We're going to take the lesson learned from here to ensure that even other organizations that work on KP, we're going to domesticate it there too and ensure that yes, and continue advocacy. Like we're equally pledging that going forward in every of the advocacy they are going to be embarking, as they have already mapped out in today's meeting, we are going to work in hand, collaborating with them to ensure that the audience they really need is being given to them. Also, we still pledge our allegiance and commitment with this program, and 2 years is not really enough to be able to pass all these messages, especially looking at the kind of people we are relating with, who have a very strong cultural and religious belief that it's very hard not to crack, but it's not as if it's not something that is not achievable or doable. So thank you. Great program, and the participation today was overwhelming.
Over time, the rights of the LGBTIQ and the key population in Nasarawa State are being violated, especially when it comes to SRH right of the KPs in Nasarawa State. But with the help of this project, we're able to mitigate some of those barriers, and some of the cases we have over time for the Nigeria Bar Associations, when we did advocacy visit to them, they were not really willing to carry out some of these cases, probably because of their bias and their religious background. But over time, one of the success stories we've achieved with this project is we're able to, they are now coming out to help to stand for some of these cases that the community people faces. And also for the religious leader, it was also an eye-opener for them, because they are not even aware of who key populations are and the peculiarity and the level of stigma and discrimination they go through. But with the advocacy taken to them, they are willing to now come out to collaborate with us and ensure that for every key population in their community are being treated as human, and also ensure that their rights when it comes to health are also being protected also. So, and for me, the meeting we had today was an eye-opener for me, because it was a meeting where we all came together, experience sharing, way forward, and strategies on how to go about the next phase of the project. And for me, one of the key take-home for me is when we talked about how to meet some of those hard-to-reach key stakeholders that are being reluctant or are not ready to come out and talk about or had issue to do or had anything to do with the key population. But we are able to come out with some beautiful strategies and how to go about the next phase of the project. And I'm very, very sure that the next phase of the project will be seamless and successful as we journey forward.
Having to come for this meeting has actually opened my eyes to the volume of work that Elton John Foundation is collaborating with Lawyers Alert and other key population CSOs to achieve in these 3 states. So for me, this project wouldn't be more timely than now, and I'm learning that the advocacies are currently ongoing in these states with high-level key stakeholders, and the successes that we have heard about in the room for the past couple of hours have actually been very, very, for me, I just want to say kudos to the team that is actually doing the work. And going forward, we are very, very open to continuously collaborating with the organizations in addition to Lawyers Alert, to ensure that in the states where our own organization is currently working, those organizations are adequately supported to achieve as much as possible.
I really learned a lot from the 3 states with their presentation of their successes, their achievements, on the activities they're carrying out in various states. Like the main focus of the activity program is advocacy and how they can impact on the life of the most vulnerable in the community. It has been a lesson learned for me, and I intend to give them 100% support in my state, which is Nasarawa, to see how we'll be able to come together. I will join them with the advocacy to relevant agencies that they want to impact on advocacy in. I will support them, give them the maximum support needed, so that we'll be able to see that we overcome the issue of vulnerability in Nasarawa State. Even though it's not a one-day thing, it's a long-term project. But with my understanding today and with what I've learned today, I'll give them a maximum support. And my organization's door are always open for us to work together as a team in order to achieve successes in the issue of vulnerability in Nasarawa State.
Talking about the review meeting we've had, it's been a session of wonderful learnings, and I had a lot of take home as we prepare for the next phase of the project, and also preparing for sustainability, learning about how to build capacities the more and increase the level of advocacy and community ownership, so as to enable sustainability after the project is rolled out. And we've learned a lot of strategies that other states are implementing, Benue and Plateau, and is a good point where we can incorporate all that we've learned going forward and see how we improve on the steps we've taken so far.
I'm so happy to be here today because it has been a long way, and here we are sharing success stories. I've been able to learn from other organizations, from other states, what we've been doing so far, and so far so good. I can say that I've learned some strategies from other organizations and stakeholders, and even on their input on our success and ways to go forward. I'm so excited because these lessons I've learned, I'm going to use it to ensure that we see more of stakeholder engagement in our state, and we reach out to more we pay more visits, advocacy visits to more stakeholders, so that we ensure that this vulnerability is reduced to a minimum stage. The project we're on here is a very timely and very important project. We've been able to do advocacy in Plateau State to help inform people and help reduce vulnerability amongst the population. And this is also a very important meeting because we've been able to share ideas, we've been able to learn from other states. In as much as all states have their peculiarities, we've been able to incorporate all of them and see how we can work in our different states. So it's been like a learning experience, and it has been very helpful. As a lawyer, we've seen firsthand how people in marginalized or vulnerable population have suffered because of neglect. So this advocacy is going to help a lot of people, and we're going to see that.
Coming here today actually is really impactful to me, because it's really like helped me out to share my challenges and also the achievement I've got for the past years of the project. I learned a lot from various implementing states such as Nasarawa and Benue, the strategies they use in implementing their own particular state. I find it helpful to me, like most especially going through the HIV perspective in achieving what you want from various stakeholders. I find that one very impactful. I've buy that idea and I'm going to implement it in Plateau to see how I'm going to like have more audience, like to buy their attention. Like if I'm going for a particular advocacy, I know what I'm going to like sell to them, what I'm going to say that will make them give me full attention and understand what I'm there to offer.
One key point that I take from today's lesson sharing activity, I discovered that collaboration is quite key if you want to achieve your objectives and your goals. And I'm really glad that we've done so much around that. We've partnered with the Nigerian Police Force. We've also paid advocacy visits to the Ashwan Association of Women Living with HIV and AIDS, NEF1 Network of People Living with HIV and AIDS, all in Benue State. And I think that has really been helpful, because they tend to be more receptive, and they have accepted great mainstreaming of key population activities into their HIV programming activities also. This project has actually helped in reducing vulnerability amongst the marginalized groups, because we carried out an in-depth advocacy to key and relevant stakeholders that are also a part of HIV prevention in Benue State.
Appreciation goes out to the founder, Elton John Aids Foundation, who have been magnanimous enough to fund this project, because as a result of the funding, a lot of gains have been recorded so far in the project. Appreciation also goes to our 3 project partners in both Benue, Nasarawa and Plateau, who have owned this project, who have run with this project and made certain that the vulnerability of sexual minorities, particularly the LGBT communities, is reduced to the barest minimum, their capacity raised and strengthened such that they are resilient to be able to challenge systemic and structural deficiencies that have pushed them to the background, and ultimately they be able to challenge at the center the SSMPA, which has been the bane of violations of LGBTQ community.